Yo guys, what's up? My name is the Judge Prime, the ITK, here again with another album review. Today we are talking about Common's latest album, Black America Again. Now Common is pretty much a legend at this stage in his career, a hip-hop legend. I think this is a good period to have an album like this. This album came out a week ago. I had been listening to it for a few days, but I think when the importance of this album really hit me was yesterday. I remember after the results came out, the results of course of the American presidential election, I was angry, I was disappointed, but there was this moment where I was just like mute. And then I decided to go for a walk and I was playing this album. And it is important for me to tell you guys how I feel oftentimes, or what mood I am listening to certain albums, because there's a lot of importance that is attached to an album when you listen to it at different times. For example, when I talk about Drake or The Weeknd, I say it's good to listen to those in a dark room. Albums like this are important for times like this, especially with the things we're facing and the rhetoric we're seeing. Albums like this, albums like To Pimp a Butterfly, albums like A Seat at the Table. So this album has a lot of importance right now. A lot of the topics discussed on here are important, very relevant, and will become even more relevant in future. Now this album has a few themes or a few topics that are covered on it. You know, there are a lot of references, spiritual and religious references, lots of Bible verses, Quranic verses, often referring also as well to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, samples of Minister Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam. There are discussions on here about oppression, about slavery, basically about the state of Black Americans or African Americans. There are also themes on here about love and sex, female empowerment, touching also on wisdom. So the album opens with the track Joy and Peace, featuring Bilal. There are a few recurring collaborators or features on here, mainly being Sid, PJ, and Bilal. This intro is nice and jazzy. Throughout this album, you're getting a heavy jazz and soul influence on it, with a lot of the instrumentation, with a lot of the singing or hooks as well. The next track, Home, featuring Bilal, theme or the topic of this track is basically saying, you know, soon he'll be done with the troubles of this world. I'm guessing also slightly alluding, you know, slightly touching on death, you know, soon he'll be done. And also, you know, his influence, his career. It also features a sample from a speech by Minister Farrakhan. There are a lot of interludes throughout this album as well. Nice jazzy interludes, very soulful. And then the next track on here, the title track, Black America Again, featuring Stevie Wonder. Very powerful track, very loaded track. You're talking about oppression on this track. You're talking about police brutality. Trayvon will never get to be an older man. You're talking about slavery. He's talking about how Africans were robbed of their names and their languages, stolen again. Mass incarceration. Very, very loaded track. He talks on here about how instead of educating, they're just imprisoning people. The system just imprisons people. There's a nice James Brown sample in here talking about, you know, you need to know who you are and where you come from. Lovely piano ballad. I love the bridge on this track and the delicate violins. Stevie Wonder's singing at the end, or the hook as well. Everything just came together very well. Truly befitting to be the title track. I think this would be the most powerful track on this album. The next track, Love Star, you know, just a general love song, a little bit sexual here and there. I didn't really like the song, but it's, you know, it fits into the album, I guess, but I didn't really like the song. The next track on here, Red Wine, featuring Sid and Elena. Nice R&B vibe to it, very ethereal. Also another love song. I did enjoy this quite a bit, followed by the track Pyramids. it has this kind of, mysterious vibe to it. It has this kind of, UFO-ish type vibe to it. I guess that was what he was hitting for. Boom bap production on here as well. Talking about Egypt, also talking about, he'll go on world tour with the Prophet of God, Muhammad. Peace be upon him again. And he also says, there are lots of witty bars on here. He also says, he's here to deprism the prism of your mind. So on this album, you're getting a lot of bars. You're getting a lot of meaning on this album. You're getting a lot of context to it. You're getting a lot of talks about, slavery, oppression, police brutality, the state of America for African Americans, and you're also getting, things on here that touch on love. A particularly interesting track on here, The Day Women Took Over, featuring BJ, the Chicago Kid. Here, Common is just painting us a picture of how the world would be if women were in charge, talking about women like Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey. He was like, there would be no wars, families would be stronger, people would be more comfortable, more loving, we'd be able to appreciate beauty in all shapes and sizes, women won't need to be called bitches. And I think this is a very empowering song. I think this is a very good song, has a very positive message, certainly in support of that. I do like this track. This album is littered with a lot of meaning, a lot of content, and I really did enjoy this album. It had a renewed importance for me following the events of the American election. I definitely say this is an important album for you to pick up. If you are into jazz, rap, if you are into albums that have meaning, you want to hear something that empowers you, you want to hear something that makes you feel, strong, that makes you sort of inspires you as well. Definitely this is a good album. If you liked albums like A Seat at the Table, if you liked albums like To Pimp a Butterfly, certainly you can see a lot of elements of To Pimp a Butterfly on this. Lots of rap as well, lots of meaning, like I said. If you don't like that kind of jazz rap, you don't like jazzy instrumentation, you don't like all that deep content, then yeah, you won't enjoy this album very much. I will definitely recommend this album for everybody out there that's, into whatever it may be, whatever activism you're into. Definitely give this album a listen. I'll give this album an 8 out of 10 on my rating. A few songs on here like Love Star didn't really do it for me. They felt a bit, they didn't really click. They didn't really connect. The instrumentation was a bit off for me. The vibe was a bit, I didn't really feel it. But definitely a solid album from Common. 8 out of 10. Please go and listen to this album. A link will be provided in the description below. So I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you'll go check out this album. If you have already listened to this album, let me know what your thoughts are. Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like. If you're new around here, why not click subscribe? Check out some of my other reviews. My name is Judge Prime. I hope you have a blessed day and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.